Bro, if you thought the Commanders' offseason was going to be boring, let me tell you straight up you were dead wrong. Listen, fam, we're just 1 month away from the legal tampering period in free agency, and things are already getting wild. Y'all don't even realize what's going down in Washington right now. We've got trade rumors that could completely reshape our defensive line, free agent targets making it known they're available, and draft debates splitting the fan base like I haven't seen in years. This ain't just off-season noise, bro. This is the moment where Adam Peters and Dan Quinn gotta show they actually learned something from that brutal 5-12 mess in 2025. Let's be real after going 12-5 and making the NFC Championship in 2024. Falling off like that was straight up embarrassing. It was humiliating. It was unacceptable. And look, I know some of y'all are still trying to process what happened. I am too, man. Watching this defense collapse week after week, seeing Dan Quinn take over play calling from Joe Witt and not improve a damn thing. Watching Jaden Daniels pull off magic on offense only for the defense to blow it all. Bro, that hurts. But here's the thing, fam. The offseason is where championships are built. It's where smart G-Miz make moves that flip franchises. And Adam Peters has shown he knows what he's doing. Now he's got to prove it again. Today we're breaking down 3 major stories that are driving the Commanders' conversation. One that could completely change our defensive line and free up massive cap space. Another that gives us a new tight end option with real risk but real upside. And a draft prediction that's got the entire fan base arguing. Let's get into it. All right, bro. Let's start with the bombshell of the day. Bleacher Report is saying Daron Payne should be the #1 trade target for the Green Bay Packers this offseason. And honestly, after reading the full breakdown, it makes TOTAL sense for Green Bay and for us. This ain't clickbait, fam. This is a real possibility. Let me lay out the full context. The Packers traded Kenny Clark, their Pro Bowl defensive tackle, to Dallas in that blockbuster deal for Micah Parsons back in August of 2025. At the time, bro, it was a total no-brainer. Swapping a solid, reliable DT for one of the best edge rushers in the league of generational talent. Sign me up. Any GM in the league makes that trade 100 times out of 100. But when Parsons tore his ACL in Week 14, the whole house of cards came crashing down. Green Bay lost 4 straight games to close out the regular season. 4 games, bro. And they got bounced by the Chicago Bears in the wild card round. Yeah, the Bears, fam. The same team that's been the laughingstock of the division for years. That's pain on a whole different level. And you know what hurt the most for the Packers? Their interior defensive line turned into a revolving door. Without Kenny Clark, they had nobody who could eat double teams, collapse the pocket from the inside, and hold the line in the run game. Parsons is elite, but an edge rusher can't carry an entire defense, especially when he's hurt. Now the Packers are desperate for an interior disruptor to bring back that dominant presence they had with Clark. And guess who's on Alex Ballantini's list from Bleacher Report? Daron Payne, our defensive tackle who's on a 4-year, $90 million deal signed before 2023. Here's the issue, and this is why I think this trade could actually happen. Washington is paying way too much money for its interior defensive line without getting real results. Think about it, bro. We had Jonathan Allen on a $72 million deal over 4 years playing hurt and underperforming, and we cut him after 2025. And what did we do to replace him? We signed Javon Kinlaw for $45 million over 3 years. Pause. Let that sink in. Javon Kinlaw, fam. The same Kinlaw who's been battling knee injuries since he entered the league. The same guy who couldn't stay healthy in San Francisco. And we gave him $45 million. Bro, seriously? That was Adam Peters' plan? And then there's Payne, $90 million. Pro Bowler in 2023. Sure. But since, then what's he done to justify that contract? Nothing, man. Absolutely nothing. In 2024, he had 3.5 sacks. In 2025, just 2.5. Those aren't numbers you pay $22.5 million per year for. And on top of that, we used our first second-round pick in 2024, number 36 overall, on Jerzan Newton, another defensive tackle who hasn't produced at the level we expected. Newton's got talent, yeah, but he hasn't been the instant impact guy we needed. So here's the brutal reality, fam. We've got a logjam of talent, or supposed talent on the interior D-line, and none of them are playing at an elite level. None of them are dominating. None of them are being the difference maker we need. Alex Ballentine nailed it in his analysis. The Commanders have a logjam of talent on the interior of the defensive line, and extending Payne could be difficult. That could open the door for the Packers to get the interior disruptor who could take their defensive front to the next level. And bro, if the Packers are willing to give us draft capital for Payne, why not? We get out from under that massive contract, free up cap space to sign real playmakers in free agency, and use those picks to build a defense that actually works under Daron Jones. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking, but Payne's a Pro Bowler, man. You can't just give him away. And you're right, to a point. But here's the thing a lot of folks don't want to admit. A Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything if you're not producing consistently when it matters. Payne isn't dominating like he should be for that kind of money. He's not generating consistent pressure on the quarterback. He's not collapsing the pocket in a way that changes games. He's not anchoring the run defense like we need. And in a scheme that demands versatility, explosiveness, and the ability to do multiple things well, he's just not delivering at the level his contract demands. Let's look at the numbers, bro. In 2023, his Pro Bowl season, he played 1,043 snaps and had 6.5 sacks with 33 total tackles. That's solid, no doubt. But in 2024, his snaps dropped to 891 and his production dipped. In 2025, he played just 756 snaps and had his worst season in terms of impact plays. And you know what worries me the most? His motor. There are plays where Payne just disappears, where he's not giving max effort on every snap. And bro, when you're making what he's making, you have to give 110% every play. No excuses. From Green Bay's side, this trade makes perfect sense. They need an interior presence who can do what Kenny Clark did: eat double teams, free up linebackers to make plays, and collapse the pocket on passing downs. Payne can do all that when he's healthy and motivated. And here's the kicker. Fam, a change of scenery might be exactly what Payne needs. Sometimes a player just gets stuck in a place and needs a fresh start to rediscover that hunger. The Packers have a winning culture, a defensive coordinator in Jeff Hafley who knows how to use defensive tackles, and they be paying Payne to be the guy inside, not just one of many. From our side, if Adam Peters can get a second rounder for Payne, or even a third with conditionals that could turn into a second, we're dramatically improving the roster, because that cap space we free up, roughly $18 million, if we trade him post-June 1st, lets us go hard after someone like Trey Hendrickson at edge rusher. And bro, imagine this. You trade Payne, sign Hendrickson, use that second-round pick on a linebacker or safety in the draft, and suddenly you've got a defense that looks completely different. Faster, more aggressive, more versatile. Listen, I know some fans are going to hate this idea. They'll say we're giving up on a Pro Bowler. But fam, sometimes you got to make tough moves to get better. And this is one of those moves. The truth is this: Washington needs a full defensive reset. We need speed, playmaking ability, and guys who want to be here and give it everything. If Payne's not that guy, then it's better to move him now, while he still has trade value, instead of keeping him another year, watching more of the same, and then cutting him for nothing. Green Bay needs an interior disruptor. We need cap space and draft capital. This trade makes sense for both sides, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down before the draft in April. Keep it a buck. Bro, if you hear there's chatter between Peters and Brian Gutekunst, Green Bay's GM in the next few weeks. You already know what's up. Fam, if there's one position where the Commanders desperately need help this offseason, it's tight end. No debate there. And just this week, with timing that couldn't be more perfect, David Njoku announced on social media that he's leaving Cleveland after 9 seasons and looking for a new home. Bro, this opens up a massive door for Washington, and Adam Peters needs to be on the phone with Njoku's agent the second. The legal tampering period opens on March 9th. Let me give you the full picture of who David Njoku is and why this matters so much. Njoku spent 9 seasons with the Browns after they drafted him in the first round, number 29 overall, back in 2017. And bro, despite playing for a franchise that's been a mess for decades, Njoku managed to become a legend in Cleveland. He's second all-time in franchise history in receptions and touchdowns for a tight end, only behind Hall of Famer Ozzie Newsome. Think about that, fam. Ozzie Newsome is one of the best tight ends in NFL history, and Njoku is right behind him in the Browns' record books. That's respect, man. That's legacy. In 2023, Njoku had his best season as a pro, 882 yards and 6 touchdowns in 13 games. He was a legit top 10 tight end that year, bro. Making plays down the seam, boxing out defenders in the red zone, being a security blanket for whoever was playing quarterback. And you know, Cleveland's had a QB carousel that's straight up wild. But since then, injuries have completely wrecked him. And when I say wrecked, I'm not exaggerating, fam. In 2024, he played just 11 games due to knee issues. In 2025, he played 12 games, but his production dropped hard, just 33 receptions and under 300 yards. Yeah, he had 4 touchdowns, which shows he still has those red zone hands. But bro, that's not enough for a tight end who's supposed to be your main weapon in the passing game. And on top of that, he's missed 11 total games over the last 2 seasons due to injuries. That's almost a full season loss, man. And all those injuries have been tied to the same area. His right knee? He had a right knee strain in October 2024. It flared up again in December. Then, again in October 2025, and once more in December. That's a massive red flag, fam. Because when the same injury keeps coming back, it means either it's not healing right, or there's a deeper structural issue that's not being addressed. Now with Todd Monken coming in as the new head coach in Cleveland, after being the offensive coordinator for the Ravens, it's clear Njoku and the team had talks and mutually agreed it was time to move on. Njoku posted a super emotional message on Instagram this week, thanking the city of Cleveland, the Haslams, the owners who drafted him, and all his teammates over the years. The time for me to find a new home has come, and all I can think of is just the gratefulness in my heart. The city of Cleveland will forever be my home, Njoku wrote in his post, and bro, that hit different. You can feel the real emotion there. 9 years is a long time in today's NFL. Most players don't even last half that. Njoku gave everything to Cleveland, and now he's ready for the next chapter. And here's where it gets interesting for us. Fam, Njoku is officially the most attractive and realistic tight end on the free agent market. Let me break down why Travis Kelce is probably retiring or staying in Kansas City for one last ride with Patrick Mahomes. No way he hits the market. Kyle Pitts is almost guaranteed to get franchise tagged by Atlanta after finally breaking out. In 2025, the Falcons aren't letting him walk. Isaiah Likely could have been an interesting option. But here's the thing. Todd Monken was the offensive coordinator in Baltimore the last 3 seasons, where he coached Likely. Reports are already saying Monken is targeting Likely to bring him to Cleveland as Njoku's replacement. So that option's probably off the table for us too. Dallas Goedert is another name, but he's 30, coming off a season where he only played 10 games due to injuries, and the Eagles will likely offer him a deal to stay and mentor their young tight end Grant Calcaterra. So who's left? David Njoku. And bro, despite all the injury red flags, there are legit reasons to be excited about this possibility. First, the connection with David Blau, our new offensive coordinator. Blau was in Cleveland in 2023 as an N. Assistant quarterbacks coach the exact season. Njoku had his career year with 882 yards and 6 touchdowns. Blau knows Njoku, knows his strengths, knows how to use him in an offense, and already has that familiarity that can fast-track chemistry. That's not a small thing, fam. Chemistry between a tight end and an OC can be the difference between a good season and a great one. And if Blau already knows how to put Njoku in positions to succeed, that's huge. Second, Njoku still has elite physical tools when healthy. He's 6'4", 246 pounds, with 4.64 speed in the 40-yard dash. Bro, that's freaky for a tight end. He can run down the seam like a big receiver, box out DBs on contested catches, and has some of the best hands at the position when he's on. Watch his 2023 tape, man. Njoku is making plays only the top tight ends in the league can make. Adjusting midair, catching in traffic, toe tapping on the sideline. The talent is there. The question is whether his body can hold up for 17 games. Third, and this is important, the price is going to be reasonable. Spotric has Njoku's market value at around $10 million per year. That's not a crazy number, bro. Compared to what other tight ends are getting, that's almost a bargain if Njoku can stay healthy. For context, Evan Engram signed for $13.75 million per year with Jacksonville. Dalton Schultz is making $10.5 with. Houston Hockenson is at $11 with Minnesota. So $10 million for Njoku, who has more upside than all those guys when he's on, is a fair price. Now, here's how Adam Peters should structure this deal if he goes after Njoku. 2 years, $20 million total, with an out clause after the first year. That way, if Njoku gets hurt again or doesn't produce, Washington can cut him after 2026 without a massive dead cap hit. But if he stays healthy and returns to his 2023 form, we've got a steal of a contract. That structure protects the team while giving Njoku a chance to prove he's still a top-tier tight end. It's a win-win, fam, but here's the elephant in the room we gotta address. What about Ben Sinnott? Sinnott is our young tight end we drafted, and if we sign Njoku, are we blocking his development? Because listen, fam, if Sinnott has the talent to be our Tay 1 in the future, we need to get him reps NOW, not in 2 or 3 years when Njoku retires or moves on. Here's my take on that. Bro, nobody knows Sinnott better than Adam Peters and the coaching staff. They see him in practice every day. They know if he's ready to be the guy or if he needs more time to develop. And if Peters decides Sinnott needs another year behind a vet, then I trust that call. Plus, fam, having Njoku doesn't mean Sinnott won't play. We can run plenty of 12 personnel, 2 tight ends in Blau's offense. Sinnott can learn from Njoku, see how a veteran Pro Bowler prepares, studies film, and works on his craft. That's priceless for a young player. And if Njoku gets hurt, which, let's be real, is a real possibility, then Sinnott has to step up anyway. So it's not like we're completely blocking his path. Listen, fam, I'm going to keep it real. Njoku is a risk. I'm not going to pretend he's not. The injuries are concerning. The age, he turns 30 in July, is concerning. The drop in production is concerning. But in a market where options are limited, and considering how badly we need help at tight end, it's a risk worth taking if the price and contract structure are right. Think of it this way, bro. If Njoku stays healthy and returns to his 2023 form, Jaden Daniels has a legit weapon in the middle of the field who can stretch defenses vertically and be a red zone threat. That opens everything up for Terry McLaurin, for our running backs in the passing game, for everybody. But if the injuries linger and Njoku only plays 8 to 10 games, we cut the deal after 1 year, promote Sinnott, and we're not out much. Cap space because we structured the deal smart. It's calculated risk-taking, fam. And that's exactly what Adam Peters needs to do this offseason. He can't play scared. He's got to take swings. And Njoku is a swing that makes sense. Plus, bro, imagine the storyline. Njoku comes to Washington, reunites with David Blau, has a chip on his shoulder after how things ended in Cleveland, and balls out in 2026. That's a narrative I'm buying into, man. And one more thing we can't ignore. Jaden Daniels needs weapons, period. Doesn't matter if it's Njoku or Goder or whoever. Jaden's heading into year 3, which historically is when quarterbacks make the leap from good to great. But he can't do that if he doesn't have the tools around him. Look at what happened in 2025, fam. Jaden was doing everything, but the offense kept stalling in the red zone because we didn't have a reliable tight end after Zach Ertz got hurt. That cannot happen again in 2020-6. So yeah, fam, David Njoku comes with baggage. He comes with question marks. But he also comes with real upside, familiarity with our OC, and a price tag that won't break the bank. If Adam Peters can structure the deal right, this is a move he should absolutely make. And bro, if Njoku signs with Washington, the hype is going to be real. Because despite the injuries, this is a name people know, a player who's produced at a high level, and someone who can make an immediate impact if he's healthy. The legal tampering period opens March 9th. That's less than a month away, fam. And when it opens, I want Adam Peters on the phone with Njoku's agent within the first 30 minutes. Because if we wait too long, another team's going to swoop in and grab him. Fam, if there's one thing that splits a fan base faster than anything else, it's a controversial mock draft. And Joel Klatt, one of the most respected college football analysts in the country, just dropped a mock that has the Commanders taking cornerback Mansoor Delane out of LSU with the number 7 overall pick. Bro, when I saw that, my first reaction was literally, what? Corner? At 7? Because listen, up to this point, every mock we've seen over the last 2 months has Washington taking David Bailey, edge rusher from Texas Tech, Reuben Bain Jr., edge from Miami, Caleb Downs, safety from Alabama, or Sonny Styles, safety from Ohio State. Those are the safe picks, the consensus names that most draft analysts are projecting. But Klatt said, nah fam, Mansoor Delane is the move. And he's got him ranked above Bailey and Downs on his board for Washington. And, bro, after digging deep into Delane's tape, after understanding the argument, I get it. But I also totally understand why the fan base is split, and some folks are heated about this projection. First, let's talk about who Mansoor Delane is and why Klatt has him ranked so high. This dude is a 6', 190-pound corner with elite instincts. And when I say elite, I'm not throwing that word around lightly, fam. Delane's football IQ is off the charts. He's sticky in coverage, meaning when he's on you, you're not getting open. No separation, no windows. You're basically invisible as a receiver when Delane's locked in. And he's not just a coverage guy who disappears in the run game like a lot of modern corners. Bro, Delane is physical. He tackles with authority, sets the edge, doesn't get blocked easily. That's rare in today's NFL, man. Most corners now are 180-pound coverage specialists who avoid contact. Delane embraces it. Now, check these 2025 numbers. Fam, they're insane. Delane played 358 snaps in coverage and didn't allow a single touchdown. Bro, read that again. 0. None. Zip. In those 358 snaps, he gave up just 13 receptions. 13. He had 2 interceptions, 6 pass breakups, and allowed a passer rating of just 31.3. For context, a passer rating of 39.6 is what you get if you literally spike the ball every play. Delane was better than that. Fam, those are numbers that don't just make Delane the best corner in this draft. They put him in the conversation as one of the best corner prospects of the last 5 years. No debate. Scouts across the league have him as a top 10 lock, and many have him top -5. So, from a pure talent perspective, Delane is legit. He's a blue-chip prospect who can be an instant impact starter and potentially a future All-Pro. That's not in question. But here's the issue that's got the fan base divided. Bro, Is cornerback really our biggest need at number 7 overall? Because listen, yeah, Mike Sainristil had a massive step back in 2025. It was tough, watching him regress. In 2024 as a rookie, Sainristil was one of the best slot corners in the league. 4 interceptions, 11 pass breakups, total lockdown in the slot. But in 2025, it all fell apart. Just one pick, more penalties, worse coverage grades. But here's the thing, fam. We don't know how Sainristil is going to look under Daron Jones, our new defensive coordinator coming from Minnesota. Jones runs a heavy zone scheme, which is totally different from the man-heavy system Joe Witt was running. Sainristil might thrive in zone. He might be a perfect fit for what Jones wants to do. And if that's the case, then corner isn't an urgent need, and we should use the number 7 pick on an edge rusher, linebacker, or safety, where our needs are screaming. Plus, bro, our defense has huge holes at multiple spots. We don't have an edge rusher who can consistently get to the quarterback. We don't have a linebacker who can cover tight ends. We don't have a true free safety who can play center field and erase mistakes. If we take Delane at 7, are we ignoring those more urgent needs just because he's the best player available? Now, here's the counter-argument, and it's strong, fam. Cornerback is a premium position in today's NFL. If you can't cover, you can't win. Period. End of story. Look at the teams that have won Super Bowls recently. They all had elite corner play. The Rams had Jalen Ramsey. The Bucks had Carlton Davis and Sean Murphy-Bunting playing lights out. The Chiefs had L'Jarius Sneed before they traded him and Trent McDuffie. You cannot win in this league without corners who can match up with elite receivers. And with how pass-heavy the NFL is now, having multiple lockdown corners is more important than ever. And Washington has been struggling at corner for years, bro. Since Josh Norman left, we haven't had a truly elite corner. Kendall Fuller is solid, but not elite. Benjamin St. just has been inconsistent. Sainristil regressed. Emmanuel Forbes has been a bust so far. If Delane is a future all-pro corner, isn't it worth taking him, even if it's not our biggest immediate need? Because, fam, blue-chip players don't grow on trees. When you have a chance to draft one, you take him. Also, here's something a lot of fans aren't thinking about. If Adam Peters can address edge rusher, linebacker, and safety in free agency, then we can afford to take the best player available in the draft. And if that guy is Delane, then it's Delane. Picture this scenario, bro. Peters signs Trey Hendrickson, edge rusher, 32 years old but still elite in free agency. Brings in Boy Mafe, another edge option. Adds Frankie Louvu or Bobby Okereke at linebacker. Signs Justin Simmons or Jesse Bates at safety. If he does all that, suddenly our biggest needs are handled, and we can draft Delane without worry. And now you've got a defense with elite players at every level. Another important point Klatt is probably considering. Delane plays best in man coverage, which might be a concern if Daron Jones sticks with a zone-heavy scheme like he ran in Minnesota. But here's the thing, fam. Delane also plays at a high level in zone. He's got the ability to read routes, react quickly, and make plays on the ball in zone concepts. His football IQ lets him adjust to any scheme. And bro, if Delane can lock down receivers in man, that gives Jones more flexibility to blitz and get creative in other areas. That's huge, man. Because if Jones knows he can leave Delane on an island in man coverage when needed, he can bring extra pressure, disguise coverages, and do so much more. SCHEMATICALL. Why dot and think about it from this angle, bro? What's easier to find a good edge rusher or an elite corner? Honest answer, edge rushers are easier to find. You can get productive edge guys in later rounds. You can sign vets in free agency who still have juice. But elite corners? Those are rare. FAM. Look at draft history. How many elite corners have been drafted outside the top 15 in the last 10 years? Very few. Most all-pro corners were top 10 picks. Jalen Ramsey, Denzel Ward, Patrick Surtain II, Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley Jr. If you want an elite corner, you usually have to use a premium pick. And if Delane has that potential, maybe Klatt is right that Washington should take him. Listen, fam, I get the frustration from some fans. We all want David Bailey. We all want to see Jaden Daniels protected by a dominant edge rusher terrorizing opposing quarterbacks. I want that too, bro. But if Joel Klatt, who watches more college football than probably anyone in the country, is seeing something in Delane that makes him perfect for Washington, and if Adam Peters decides Delane is the move, then we've got to trust the process, because at the end of the day, bro, Adam Peters has earned our trust. Look at what he did in 2024. Drafted Jaden Daniels, nailed multiple picks, made smart free agent signings, turned around a franchise that was in shambles. Yeah, 2025 was a disaster, but that's more on coaching than roster construction. And now with Daron Jones as DC and new coordinators in place, maybe Peter sees Delane as the missing piece that can elevate this defense. And fam, here's something else to consider. Delane has an incredibly high floor. Even if he doesn't become an all-pro, he's going to be a very good starting corner for years. That kind of safe pick with elite upside is exactly what you want when you're drafting top 10. Compare that to some of the edge rushers in this draft. Yeah, David Bailey has elite potential, but there are also concerns about his size and whether he can hold up against NFL offensive tackles. Ruben Bain Jr. is explosive, but raw and needs development. Delane is more polished, more ready to contribute immediately, and has less bust potential. Now, all that said, bro, I'm not saying Delane should be the pick. I'm saying I understand the argument. And if Klatt has him there, there's legit reasoning behind it. Personally, fam, I still want David Bailey or Caleb Downs. But if on draft night Adam Peters takes Mansoor Delane, I'm not going to panic. I'm going to trust that Peters sees something we don't in the film and scouting reports. Because at the end of the day, bro, we need blue chip players on this defense period. Doesn't matter if it's edge, corner, safety, or linebacker. We need dudes who can play, and Mansoor Delane is definitely a dude who can play, fam. The numbers don't lie, the tape doesn't lie. And if Joel Klatt has him as the pick, we should at least consider the possibility instead of dismissing it outright. Bro, this offseason is going to be absolutely wild, and we're just getting started. We've got trade rumors involving Daron Payne that could free up massive cap space. We've got free agent targets like David Njoku making it known they're available and could be perfect fits. And we've got draft debates tearing the fan base apart between traditional needs and best player available philosophy. But here's what I know for sure, fam. Adam Peters and Dan Quinn have to get this offseason right. There's no room for error. No excuses. After that humiliating 5-12 disaster in 2025, where we watched this defense collapse week after week, where we saw Jaden Daniels doing everything humanly possible only for the other side of the ball to blow it, we need results. We need playmakers who change games. We need a defense that can get stops when it matters. We need depth at key positions. We need coaching that can maximize the talent we already have. And listen, if that means trading Daron Payne to free up $18 million in cap space and using that money to sign Trey Hendrickson and Justin Simmons, then so be it, bro. If that means taking a calculated risk on David Njoku with a smartly structured deal that protects the franchise, then let's do it. FAM. And if that means drafting Mansoor Delane instead of David Bailey because Peter's in the scouting department, believe Delane has higher upside and a better fit for what Daron Jones wants to build defensively, then I'm trusting that process. Because at the end of the day, this ain't about names. This ain't about making fans happy on social media. This is about winning football games. This is about building a sustainable contender that can compete for championships while Jaden Daniels is still on his rookie contract. And bro, that window is short. Jaden's heading into year 3. In 2 more years, he's going to need a massive extension that's going to eat up cap space. So these next 2 years are critical. They're make or break for this regime. Adam Peters knows it. Dan Quinn knows it. And I hope they're attacking this. Offseason with the urgency the situation demands. Fam. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you trade Daron Payne for draft capital? Would you sign David Njoku despite the injury concerns? Would you take Mansoor Delane at 7 or go with David Bailey? I want to hear all your takes because this offseason is going to define the future of this franchise for the next 5 years. And, bro, if you like this deep breakdown, if you appreciate that we went beyond surface level takes and really analyzed every angle hit, that like button and subscribe to the channel. Because this is just the beginning. FAM. The legal tampering period opens in less than a month. The draft is 2 months away. And we're going to be covering every move, every signing, every pick with the same level of analysis and passion. Because we're Commanders fans, bro. And despite all the pain, all the frustration, all the disappointing seasons, we're still here. We still believe. We're still hoping that this is the year everything comes together. And with Jaden Daniels as our franchise quarterback, with Adam Peters making moves, with new coordinators in place, maybe, just maybe, 2026 is when we finally get back to relevance. See y'all in the next video, fam. HTTR. Let's get this offseason right.